just did, some of you heard a little bit about this before, in relocating and moving out of the country to Mexico. The underlining message and what you learn from this, and I really want you to try to just listen to what I say and try to apply it. How can I apply what this crazy man just went out and did into my business? And where does that apply? And that's what I want you thinking about. Because the action verb that I've coined is act as if. And right now, you guys all want a successful business, yes or yes?
Yeah.
And why? You all have a different why, don't you?
Yeah.
But we all have a why, and we all want to be successful. And so some people say, well, I got to be super successful. I got to be successful before I hire person A. Well, guess what? If you wait, and at which point you're ready for person A, it's too late, right? So I'm not saying go out and hire a bunch of people, but I want you to take this message that sometimes if you really, really want something, you dream it, you plan it, you do it. You don't let anything knock you off track. Because if anything would have knocked me off my last 60-day track, then what I accomplished would have not been possible. So I'm going to take you through this story. You guys okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's about, yes, did you have a question? Yes. Before I do that, show of hands. Who is going to be here for after the whole session when we get into the good old American barbecue? Okay, who's not going to be able to stay for the barbecue tonight so they know? Okay, so we have one. Anybody else not staying? That's a hit, Jody. All right. Okay, so acting as if, I mean, you guys kind of get what that means, right? Like you gotta kind of make decisions now as if what you're looking to have happen is going, not maybe, but it is damn going to happen. And so the decisions you make right now, you're making not because they might happen, because wouldn't that change your decision process? Well, if it might happen, then I may not have to make this decision right now. And if you keep thinking like that, you will never get shit done. So here's what happens. We stayed at Louis Sardi's, where's Louis? Louis is right here. We stayed at his place. He and his cousin, there were property owners down there, gracious enough to let my wife and I stay in their house for a month about a year and a half ago. And then this year in January, we stayed for about a week and a half. His cousin decided to take us around and look at a couple places. Now, there was a couple, one of my best friends from high school, who came in to hang out with us for the 3-4 days, and they got excited about, wow, you could actually get a place like this for $300,000, and we could split it, and we could have it available to us whenever we wanted it, and we could rent it to make some income. Like, we really started flirting with the idea. Not moving to Mexico, just flirting with the idea of a vacation house. So one day, Nikki was completely sick. She had kidney stones or something going on. I drug her out of bed anyway. Like, she'll tell you there's no way this would have happened. I mean, I drug her out of bed. We went and saw this place. We walked in, met the owners, no realtor involved. It was just a guy introducing me to the sellers. And we walked out onto this floor just like this, and that was the ocean. 180 degrees. Sea of Cortez this way, Pacific and the Arch that way. Who's been to Cabo San Lucas? Then you know what I'm talking about. It was just all ocean view. Like, as staggering as that. And so she dropped her jaw and said, I could live here. Now, I instantly reacted, and here's how I reacted. Oh, cool. I'll call Steve. You'll love this place. We'll get it half price. Like, hey, man, we can afford this, because it was a lot more than that $300,000 vacation home we're thinking about. So I clearly didn't think she meant live here. I thought she meant, let's call Steve. Let's make this the one. And when I said, yeah, I'll call Steve, she goes, no. I mean, sell our house and live here. And I just went, like the sea had parted at that point. I was like, and now get this. Fast track to divorce. So someone tells you they want to move to Mexico and they only been there a weekend and you move to Mexico. No, not good. The reason why I believed her is because we'd lived there for a month already. Right? We stayed in his house for a month. We stayed there for a week and a half. Like, we can jive in that community and culture. We love it. We thrive in it. So she says, I can live here. I go, okay, well, we fly home in about 2 days. We'll get started. Now, she would tell you her side of the story. She could not believe. Like, I didn't want her to change her mind. I had to get moving. I had to act as if it already happened. Because here's why. The house, the sellers, they gave me a price. I'm going to start to negotiate. I don't have the house yet. But I don't have, hundreds of thousands of dollars that I want to just plop down on a property right now. So something that I just plop it down. No, I want to sell a house to take those proceeds and plop it down on real estate. So for me to get this house, I've got to sell my house. right? And I got to sell it for a certain price because the way you buy a house in Mexico is you put 50% down, and then the seller usually finances the other 50%. It's kind of nice because it's hard to get financing for Mexican property from American financing companies. It just, it doesn't work. So sellers, if they want to move their property, they sell or finance. So I knew what I needed to be able to put the down. So it's one, I got to sell my house. Two, I got to sell it for this much. And then all of the other things that go into place to get your dogs all ready to go to Mexico, get your cars ready to go to Mexico, get your visas in place to go to Mexico, all this stuff, right? I just started acting as if. So what's the first thing I did when I got home? 2-3 days later, when I got back to California, what's the first thing I did? Exactly. It was Wednesday when I got home, so Friday I put the yard sale signs out. And I started selling all my shit out the middle of the house, even before I haven't even sold my house yet, but I'm selling couches and I'm selling stuff. But if I had the mindset that would say, well, I can't sell the couch and the bed, I haven't sold the house yet. You see what happens here? I had to act as if. So I couldn't sell my house that weekend because 2 days is a little bit short notice for a realtor to get their butt in gear, right? But what about the next Friday? So the next Friday, house was up, sold in 1 day. Price right, sold in 1 day. Another yard sale, more stuff coming out in the middle of the house. Now, understand that I pushed the price of my house up to where the real estate agent thought that the appraisal would probably have a problem and it wouldn't support the price that I wanted because I needed either an all cash deal or someone that, because if the appraisal doesn't support and they don't get the financing, even though they accepted your offer or you accepted their offer, it could fall out. But I need all these things to happen perfectly, don't I? Because I don't want the sellers to sell this house to someone else. And I heard that this show is going to be on Mexico Life. I don't know if you guys see it on HGTV. It was just on the TV. I knew that was coming. Like, I had this fear going on, and I need to sell all this stuff, and I need to sell this house. So I put it up, and I got an offer the first day, but it wasn't all cash, so there's a chance it could fall out. Could I act as if there was a chance that it would fall out? No, because that would be completely opposite of what I'm telling you right now. I had, you know what? It's going to happen. There ain't nothing going to stop this from happening. Period. End of discussion. It is going to happen. So keep selling that stuff right out the middle of your house. Right? So the house sold the first day, 30-day escrow. I still don't have a house in Mexico. I'm now negotiating, finding out that there's new quirks in the deal. A new real estate agent just perked up and suddenly was involved in the mix because he had signed a contract with them back in November and he had the whole contract till the next November. So we're sitting here plotting out how to pretend we're not buying the house until November till the contract expires, and I'm not feeling good about this. And they're saying, that price that we agreed on, can't do it because my contract says if there's no buyer agent, I got to pay this listing agent 8%. So for me to get my price, we needed no 8% involved. So, okay, well, the contract says that, but can we get him to accept 4? Does Lewis's cousin become a realtor so that we can command that 4% our way and so that we can take it off the price so that we can make this happen? I wasn't going to have it. Nope, it's got to be a real estate agent out here and this and that and all this stuff. So it started getting a little rocky. They declined my offer. They came back and said, unfortunately, we're taking another offer. Now, my house is sold. Within 2 weeks, I'm going to be homeless. And now they're telling me after we agreed on a price and a price increase to cover 4% of the commission, I agreed to go up $12,500, which was going to be half of that 4% commission I was agreeing to. But no, the guy wants 8%. So unfortunately, we're going to have to turn down your offer. And I'm waiting in the line at the DMV trying to get my driver's license before leaving and all this. And I didn't want to call Nikki and tell her. We're already this far along. The house is sold. Stuff in the middle of the house is sold. What are we going to do? And so his cousin goes over to talk to, as an older couple, and went to talk to them. And she kind of caved and started crying and said, there is no other buyer. And I got privy to that insider information. It was that now that the real estate agent was involved, all of those tactics were coming into play. And this is my life. Like, I sold my house. My family will be homeless. And this is how they're going to, we had a deal here. And this was all starting to hit the rocks. But could I change the way I was thinking? Or did I just keep acting as if and just kept barreling down because it's going to happen? So I'm still going to keep the doctor's appointments for the dogs. And I'm still going to get all the shots because you need 8 weeks before all that stuff can come into place. And my time is ticking. I'm leaving here. I've got movers scheduled. I've got things in place. It doesn't matter. And I convinced my wife that if this deal falls through, would you be willing to kind of hang out and find another deal? Well, I only want to move to Mexico for that house. And I go, well, but she believed in me, and she's all, screw it, let's do it, I'm in. So then what happens is we get down literally Easter, right before Easter, it's time to move, it's time for us to get out. The new buyers of my house were on the driveway at 9:50, and I needed to leave at 10 a.m. I had a 26-foot truck that I packed in because my father-in-law was hurting and pains, and I did it all myself. I stayed up all night long. I was determined to get out. I was determined to get out on time. We had nowhere to go. We didn't have a house down there, but I had found a rental. And so I arranged for us to have a long-term rental because I understand even if I did find the property that I want and get the offer accepted and start moving forward, it could be another 2-3 months for us to actually be able to move in because of the process of buying New Mexico. But I just kept going, And when I told the story to everybody, I would tell them like this: every single thing had to fall in place for it all to work out. At any moment, if any one of these would have went awry, this whole thing would have been off. And I just couldn't think like that. I had to think that everything was going to happen, and I had to act as if. Did I want it bad enough? Yes. Was I determined to get it regardless? Yes. Did I let anything get in my way? Even like bullshit stuff about there being other buyers involved. I just barreled straight ahead. I didn't let any of the garbage impact my decision process, and I just stayed the course. How many of you know that if you stay the course, you will get to your path? I mean, if you don't stay the course, you will not get where you want to go. I will guarantee you that. You have to stay the course, shut down the garbage, and just act as if. Because if you get there and you didn't do this stuff because you weren't acting as if, now you've lost the whole opportunity. Give you a case in point. Let's say I priced it wrong and it didn't sell right away. Or let's say these things didn't come into place because I didn't put it up quick enough, and then I get a call saying they sold it to someone else. Then wouldn't my whole plan just be shot down at that moment? So I didn't want that to happen. That was my motivating, the burning desire was, I want this to happen and nothing will get in my way. So we show up day before Easter into the rental, and now we get to spy on our house 2 blocks down and walk the dog and keep watching them out on my balcony up there. And the thing was kind of going sideways. I showed up on their doorstep on Easter with a nice bottle of wine. And I'm not here to talk about the deal. I'm just here to wish you a happy Easter. And I'm your neighbor now. And okay, cool. So that took a little pressure off for them because they were afraid. Oh my God, he's here. He sold his house. Like, right? He moved next door. Like, that was really unsettling for them. And they were scheduled to leave on May 5th. And so, then we scheduled a meeting for me and my wife and the couple, and we sat and talked for 3 hours and didn't talk about the deal at all until the last 15 minutes because we're starting to fall asleep. But we were just getting to know each other. And what ended up happening was an alliance was formed at that moment. And I believe that if we were not boots on the ground, if I was doing this remotely from California, no way this would have happened. But because we had that time, it became an alliance of us and the sellers against the realtor. Like, we were plotting against the realtor, and they didn't want the realtor to know that we had been talking because that would be a breach of agreement and could get them sued, etc. So it was down to getting this realtor to agree to 4%. So now I start looking at other properties, and there's no way I'm going to convince Nikki to take any one of these other properties. Finally, I found one. I found one community over, definite runner-up. Didn't have a separate lot in front of it. The one that I bought has a separate lot in front of it. I'm building a mastermind house. Not as elaborate as this, but it's going to be a house where you guys can come, stay, we feed you, you stay there on the property and the whole bit. That's my dream. That's what I'm building, right? That's why I wanted this property. So the other one wasn't going to have that opportunity, but it was a good runner-up. So I went over to the realtor's office. I drove right in front, parked right in front of his front door, called him outside. I had my flyer to the house that I just looked at. Nikki's window was rolled down. She's sitting there with a smile right there. And I said, look, man, I've been trying to work with you and this deal, and we really want this house. But we found the backup. We found the runner-up. And I didn't think I was going to convince my wife that she would want something different, but she's ready for this one. So I am putting an offer on this house. I handed it to him today at 4 o'clock unless you agree to 4%. And he was of the mindset that we shouldn't be talking about commission. It's between me and the sellers. You shouldn't even be involved in this conversation. And I want my 8%. And I said, that's fine. You can be that way, but I'm making an offer at 4 o'clock unless you agree to 4%. He goes, let's do it. He goes, let's do it. I'll call the sellers right now. I'll let them know I agree. The sellers call me up. Guess what? We did it. I go, I know. I know. So then that realtor became my angel. How is that even possible? We're sitting in the signing execution moment. We're sitting there signing, and the realtor says, "I'm going to throw a little monkey wrench into that." Oh my God, what's coming next, right? Remember, sold my home, I moved down, my dogs, my whole family, we're here and we're in a rental. I mean, this is like a little unsettling. What are you going to say now? And he said the magical words of, "Would you guys consider a soft close?" And we all looked at him, sellers and I included. What do you mean soft close? Well, there's a process out here where you can hire an attorney, you guys split the fees, and they will write up a document that'll have the finance agreement, have everything intact, and it's a promise to trust. So when the trust is formed in 2 months, because that's what it takes, it just automatically, the governing document just gets right up into the trust, and you can take possession the minute you start paying. So for the sellers, they get paid right away. They get their nice big down payment, and they start getting mortgages. They get 2 mortgage payments before we would normally even have the thing done. And I get to take possession right away. And there were Canadians that leave on May 5th, like clockwork, so they don't lose their medical benefits back home. Some of you Canadians know what I'm talking about. And so they were leaving May 5th regardless. So I was either going to be spying on my house for 2 months that was empty, or I was going to be able to take possession. I took possession Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo. 90 days from Cabo back home to in the house that was supposed to take me 3 months after a deal was done. 90 days, and I'm in that house that I dreamed it, I planned it, and I did it. And I had to act as if every step of the way. So what I challenge you to do is look at your businesses and say, what am I holding myself back with all this garbage thinking? Because I don't think that's going to happen. What can I do right now that means when I get there, I'm ready? I'm going to act as if it's already happening. I'm already successful. Say it. I am successful. I am successful. How successful are you? You guys flew here, drove here. I mean, some of you do 14 hours from Toronto, for Pete's sake. Are you successful? I am successful. I am successful. I am damn successful. Yeah. Feel good? Act as if, guys, because you know what? You're doing a lot more than the majority of the population because you invest in yourself. You drive like a wild man for 14 hours to get down here, and you showed up. You showed up, you're already acting as if. Because you probably shouldn't be able to do this unless you're already successful, but you didn't anyway, didn't you? Yeah. Hey, guys, this is a big, powerful message, and it's one that I teach my kids. I can't believe you did that. All of that. Like my 23-year-old, like, how did you? And I go, man, I'm going to tell you what. You dream it, you plan it, you do it, and do not let anyone get in your way. No garbage thinking get in your way. You will be more successful. I promise you this. I promise you this. So, who is acting as if right now in your life? Can someone give me an example? Who's acting as if in your business? Yes.
A month ago, I was an alarm installer and have been for 22 years. I gave notice to the job. I gave notice to my landlord. I gave notice to the ex-girlfriend. And I moved out of state. I used to live in Florida. I moved to North Carolina. Got my corporation the May 11th. And my brother has a commercial property that I just moved in. So I set up a corporation without even having my first customer. So I'm doing it.
And you got to call those other things.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Gave notice, quit my job, come, as Jody likes to put it, burn the boats, right, Jody? Burn the boats. Tell me, can I go back to California? I mean, I smuggled my lizard across the border. I mean, I'm done. I'm there. I'm there for a while. And you know what? I burned the boats. There was no going back, whether I had a house on the other end of it or not. And that's what you did. You basically burned boats. You said, look, I'm gone. I'm doing this. If you wouldn't have made those decisions, they would have held you back from getting it. Right? Anybody else have a great example? Anybody else have another example?
Last week, I don't have cars, I don't have anything. I don't know what to do.
That'll give him a round of applause for that. Jody, I know you love that, because what that was, is what we do a lot in this business. Well, my website's not set up yet, I don't have a business card yet, I don't, you know, You know what? You've got service and that fulfillment team's already built right here. We don't have to set up what we're doing for you to go out and sell it. And it's the fact that you did it without business cards and without all that stuff. We hear the opposite all the time. Right? So was this helpful at all? Did it give you a little kick in the butt?
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you just got to act as if. You will make it if you want it bad enough. Because if you want it bad enough, you will do what you need to do to get it done. Any questions on this little rant that I gave you?
I was just going to say, I mean, that's how I ended up looking at this element. And by the way, it's not necessarily off the table. They were just not upfront and honest with us about where they were. So I came down to California. I'm just restarting my agency. You know, I had a successful agency, just restarting. And so really didn't have the money to come to California, but I came anyway. I met Landon. By meeting Landon, we went down. And I would never have been able to even come close to talking to these guys about what they were, you know, because the vice president was extremely technical. I'm a sales guy. I'm not the technical guy. I don't want to be the technical guy. I had Landon on the phone with me, and you know, Landon closed the deal. They agreed to the deal. Everything was good to go. We'll start in 2 weeks. We got to get our online mortgage platform in place, and then we want you guys to drive the traffic for us. And 2 weeks led into a month, led into 2 months.
But rewind, had you would have let finances get in your way of going to California.
Exactly. I none of this would have even got to the point it is, and it still may happen. But it gave me the confidence to be able to, man, I'm ready to go, and I've got 2 clients working with Landon right now, and I've got several more lined up. So, I mean, you know, yeah, we're on the go now.
Well,
and that's what it took.
And sometimes that's all you got to do. And you know, when I was giving you Jarvis the example of mobile apps, there's a reason why we have this example of build it first and then go pitch it. Like, act as if it's already going to be done. Go ahead and cash in a credit with Go Mobile. Let us build a beautiful app. Then show up on the doorstep of your old buddy from high school and say, hey, look what I did for you, huh? How did I do that? How did you do that? How much do I owe you? And again, it's kind of the same thing. It's like, well, I'm acting like I'm going to get that deal already, so I'm going to get the app built now. That's a results in advance model that we use. With Social Agency Pro, we do a results in advance model with the free makeover and free takeover. Even with Social Client Expert, we have the 1 week of results, right? So incorporate that into why not? Why not service that? One of the things I was telling Jarvis yesterday was one of the exercises I like to take people through is picking those 10 business owners that you know because you have a relationship with them. So it might be a place you've been going to eat for 20 years. Well, that's a relationship. You probably know the owner. They probably know you and your kids by name. That's one on the list. And then you got that old high school buddy that, you know, you heard opened up a such and such, and that's number 2. And then you got Aunt, you know, Flo, who this and that and all that stuff, right? I had an Aunt Florence, by the way. So, you know, really what you're doing is you're just basically narrowing down the people that either owe it to you or that you'll have the easiest conversation with. All of us have at least 10 people that are in business that can use our services because they can all use our services, right? And then it's about narrowing down to the 3 that you think are going to be the strongest relationship, or because I know in the moto store, they're most likely going to go down for what we're selling. And then delivering the results in advance. So in your case, what I was telling you is build the app in advance and show up to those 3 that you've identified, or let them know that you're going to do the makeover and 1 week takeover to those 3. So that's a good, I basically just sidestepped into a really good prospecting model for you if you haven't heard that before. It's a real simple exercise, almost sounds grade school, but it works because when you sit there and you force yourself to write 10 names, not 7, 10, those 3 that you had to dig for in your brain and pockets of your brain, it's like they will present leads to you that you didn't, wow, oh, I forgot about that. Just do the exercise, narrow it down to your top 3, and then go and do what we do. Do what we do. Do what Jody talked about right before lunch.
I think it's important. The question I ask everyone here is, do you have a business? Do you believe you have a business? You might not have any clients yet, but as you say, act as if. How many people, when they ask what you do, you say you have a media business, that buys marketing, or that buys media. I think the big thing is you have to believe in that. Even if you don't have a client, doesn't mean you don't have a business, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, how many people feel like in here that haven't had a client yet that they have a business.
Is anybody in your field that they don't have a business? I love it. Nobody raised their hand, which is good.
So I think that's a big thing. Because before, when I started saying, "Oh, I have a business, but I haven't had clients," my mindset was, I feel kind of like a fraud because I didn't have. But that's not the right.
It's not the right frame of mind.
Because you just have to find the people to buy into your business.
Yep, you have a business and you have a team. By the way, all of you have a team. Do you have a team behind you? Yes. Even if you're a solopreneur, you have a pretty sizable team behind you. In any one of these products that we've talked about today, you have a fulfillment team behind you. They're all on your team. So when you talk about that, say me and my team, we do, we're experts in. So you've heard the term fake it till you make it, I don't necessarily like the term because it's whatever, fake it till you make it. But there's a lot of truth to that. I had sales guys that would come onto the floor and I don't know all this stuff yet, but I'm going to pretend like I do. I just need the phone and I just want to barrel through and go. Those are really good salespeople. You want to be able to teach them just a little bit, just enough that they need to be able to start selling. And what they're doing is they're faking it till they make it. I've been doing this for years. I'm an expert. I'm this and that. I have a team and they're closing deals, right? And usually when real estate agents get started, they're just green. They can't sound like they're green. You can't go up to someone and say, I've never listed a home in my life. Would you like to do it with me? And you don't lie either, but you don't tell them I've never listed a home in my life. Me and my team have been doing this for years. Okay, we're and it's just about, yeah.
The truth is, too, I thought about it is, okay, maybe if you and I are talking Facebook or Facebook actually, then I'm talking about it. I might not feel like an expert, but when I go talk to a business, you guys know a lot more than you think. Very good clients.
Yeah, they're great dentists, and they don't know anything about marketing. And even the limited knowledge that you have is a lot more than they.
And that's where the vomit comes out. So I guess sometimes you start thinking like, oh, well, they're looking at you, and you're holding them. Maybe you'll sell them. When you do have a business, you're giving them value. You might not be getting paid at this time, but you're holding your skills, your presentation. You all have a business. That's why we're here.
Yep. And by the way, every presentation is practice. Every presentation. Bob Kerr, one of the best stories I've ever heard in this business. Well, John, I've made the time and do you mind if I just practice? Do you mind if I just do this?
Yeah.
Okay, Bob, go ahead. Bob practiced and gets the deal. The guy who told him no, right? I said straight up, no, I'm not interested, don't want it. And he used the old, can I just practice? That was classic. Love that. So by the way, practice is another key message here, is that every time you do a presentation, you're practicing. It's not a waste of time. Every single presentation, whether it's a no or a yes, you get value out of it if you learn from what had gone down. You got to learn about what helped you in the transaction. You got to learn about what hurt you in the transaction. Remember the landmines and then the gold nuggets, right? You're going to learn that. Every time you do a presentation, which is practice, have a post-game huddle with yourself. You literally leave the place of business, go back into your car, and on your drive back to the office, it's like, what went wrong? Oh yeah, I probably shouldn't have said, yeah, oof, that was a bad one. But you liked, yeah, that was a good one. And then these are the things that you're going to remember to use as valuable tools. Practice, practice, practice. Yes, Lewis.
One of the things that TV radio, especially in the automotive market, and that might be a way some of the people have mentioned that the automotive market is the hardest to get into, to see somebody. Building an app for them might be the best way to get in. Because a lot of them don't have it, it's kind of new to that industry. You can just easily look up on the App Store and see if they have an app. And if they don't, build one for them. That's a really good way to get in. Well, a lot of people want to get in with other products, with the GLD Force, GLD Pro, and so forth. But if you build an app for them, the GM is going to see you. And that's the hardest thing to get in, is to see the GM.
And the mobile apps is really, be able to give them $30,000 fulfillment. You're able to just get it done for a credit and go in and really impress them. Yeah, there's a reason why it works. Yes.
And then just to talk about feedback, when you go in for that practice, and you're doing that after
Post-game huddle?
Make sure you write it down.
Yeah, good point.
Because you have the huddle with yourself, then your memory will go bad.
agree with that 100%. And keep in mind, when we talk about hiring salespeople and when they shadow you and you actually go through the presentations, and you got to have a post-game huddle with them too. Like after that, whether it was like you did the presentation and you didn't get the deal and you got the person shadowing you and you guys leave and you have a little post-game huddle, point out to him what worked and what didn't. Okay, Jody, you're up. All right, guys, so act as if you're already there and it will happen. All right, thank you guys.